opened the bag, and there was a man, or rather something resembling him as it seemed to me. Somehow he is not correct, not complete, a mannequin, a billet, but not a person.
Hi, my name is Jack. I want to tell you what happened to me. I work as a nurse with a partner. The task is simple, during the day to take patients to procedures, surgeries, doctors, x-rays. At night and in the morning, the worst part of the job is to pick up the dead from the wards. Pack them in black plastic bags, and take them to a small hospital morgue. Or rather a temporary storage facility. Autopsies are not performed there anymore, they are only used for storage. Bodies used to be taken through the underpass until it flooded last year after a pipe burst. It has not been repaired yet, and it is dangerous to walk there now, in case it collapses. Now we drive along the street. Of course, sometimes they die during the day, but mostly at night or early in the morning. Sometimes up to 10 people a night. It's not pleasant, especially when the corpse is still warm. It's uncomfortable to roll it up in a bag. You can feel the warm body through the gloves, and sometimes it looks like he's alive and just sleeping. It is good if everything goes well, if the plugs do not pop out of his nose, if his jaw does not open, if the formalin and its fluids do not spurt out. The main thing here is to bounce back in time and not to get dirty. The same thing with a stiffened body, the body does not feel like a human being, so it is somehow easier in the moral sense. I put him on a wheelchair, turned him on his side, slipped an open sack under him, turned him on the other side, put him out the other side, then put his legs and head in, fastened the zipper, and that was it. Let's go. Once my partner got sick and had to let him go in the afternoon, it was quiet and there were hardly any calls during the day. That night I was alone. Somehow the doctors helped me pack, though it was none of their business, but there was no other way in this situation. At about 3:30 in the morning I took the next one to the morgue. I remember it was an old woman, dried out, light as styrofoam. I was not even tired when I was packing. I brought it to the morgue, dragged it from the gurney to the table in the refrigerator, and then something confused me. At first I did not understand what. I think there is something wrong, but I cannot understand what it is. Then I realized that there should be only 4 bags with bodies, along with the grandmother, but there are 5 of them. What the hell, I think, what's the big deal? Once, an idiot drunk from another shift made a joke, climbed into a sack, and when the body carrier arrived, he sat down on a gurney. The driver went down with a heart attack. The joker was later fired. But then there were 2 orderlies there. And I didn't know where the keys were, and now I was the only one who had the keys to the morgue and the refrigerator. I felt a chill running down my back, but not from the cold. I went quietly to the bag, and there was a transparent pocket on it, where the paper on the dead person lay. I looked in it, but I could not read anything. The handwriting was unintelligible, crooked, as if the person who had written was shaking a lot. I could not understand anything. I wanted to unzip it, to see who it was, who I was packing today. I remember everyone, but something stopped me. And then, inside the bag, as if someone turned on his side. I don't remember jumping out of the fridge, slamming the door, and hearing the bag fall off the table through it. It was raw, like it was really jelly inside. I rushed to the jammed passageway for some reason. I guess it was just a reflex from old memory. I stood by the boards and stood there in a stupor, wondering what to do, if I should turn back. I was standing there in a stupor, thinking what I should do. I should turn back. I ran, stumbling over something. I pulled out my phone, which I had forgotten all about, turned on the flashlight, and my heart almost stopped. The entire passageway was filled with black bags, and in the middle, where I was walking, there was a path. Then I realized that this was not really our passage. Ours is square, and all the walls and floor are in yellow tiles. The lights are square on the ceiling, but here is damp stone with mold. The ceiling is arched, The floor is also stone, pale grass sticking out of the cracks. On the bags are the same papers with incomprehensible handwriting. I came to my senses a little and wanted to go through the whole passageway, but for some reason there was no light in front by the exit, though a powerful light was always on there. I turned back and then the devil drew me to see what was inside the bags. It must have been some mixture of curiosity and trying to prove to myself that this was not a hallucination. I leaned over to the closest one, pulled the zipper down to the middle. Immediately from there a sour, light brown liquid flowed out, odorless. I opened the bag, and there was a man, or rather something resembling him, as it seemed to me. I opened the bag, and there was something in it that looked like a man, or rather something that resembled him. He suddenly looked like his eyelids were fluttering, closed the bag, and ran back. I ran out to the morgue door, it was open, and the bag was on the doorstep. I was about to go around it, when I heard voices from the street, voices that sounded like they were speaking in our own language, but I couldn't make out a word. One was scolding the other, judging by his intonation, and the other was justifying himself. I think, let me hide, I have already had a lot of adventures today. There was a door to a little back room and I hid. I hear those two come in, grab that bag, take it outside and throw it in the car. Then they come back and go to the underpass and argue and hit the boards. Then they go outside, slam the car door, the sound of the engine comes out, and suddenly there is silence. So I sat in the back room until dawn. Strangely enough, there were no more calls, no one died, no one even noticed my absence, everyone had their own things to do. In the morning I went to the morgue with 2 guards, on the pretext of checking the doors. They opened them, went in. All 4 bags were in place, they said no cars were allowed on the grounds, and to pick up the corpses should come in an hour to drive up. I looked around afterwards, there was nothing wrong, no bags or mold, everything was just like. Maybe they were cocoons for the birth of some entities imitating humans. And they chose the place for a reason, there is pain and suffering of humans as food for them. So they are born in our world, and those who came for them, the deliverers, take them to the right addresses. Indirect confirmation of this is the number of all kinds of trash, non-humans, gals in human guise that have appeared in our world. They have no pity, no compassion, no any moral norms and conscience, just making a profit and devouring everything they see. It is impossible to call them people, although they do their best to be considered so, exalt themselves above everyone else, boast of their position in society, while those who closely communicate with them are aware of everything, but keep silent. Nothing like that ever happened again, but every time I go into the morgue's refrigerator, I always count the bags. And I try not to look into the transition area at all.
This is the story Jack told us. Subscribe to the channel, put like, see you soon stories.